Woohoo! What? Where do we start? Where do we start? I think 37 days.
This is the thing, right? When people ask, how was it? And the thing I just answer is like, everything.
Yeah.
It was everything. It was from good to bad to beautiful to painful to adventurous. It was the whole spectrum.
I think we can start with saying we are considerably lighter than we were in the beginning.
Yeah,
we are physically not the same as we were this time.
Well, I think we've tried over the last couple of days to bring ourselves back up, but we're still way down.
So we finished Uncharted Suriname. We successfully completed it 2 days ago. What was the date?
The 4th.
The 4th of October. So we've been back in civilization for 2 full days now. It's bizarre. We've lost 12 kilograms, 10, 7.
It's like 40 kilos collectively.
40.
If you think about it. That's a rucksack. That's one of our rucksacks.
Yeah,
We lost in body weight.
That's
Between all of us.
Yeah.
I lost a small child.
From where?
You now look like a small child. I think the heaviest part of my body right now is my fucking hair.
Yeah, hence the bucket out for me.
Yeah. But I honestly, we faced slight starvation, slight dehydration, extreme sleep deprivation, heat exhaustion, a lot of pain from bites and stings to bacterial infections to diarrhea and food poisoning to the extreme humidity, to hacking through the jungle, to pulling kayaks up rivers. It was everything you can think of that the jungle can throw at you that isn't too crippling happened pretty much, right? Nothing severe in a way that anyone was evacuated. Could have been though. Only took another boat to explode, or only took a break at the ankle on the rocks on day number 1. Could have been anything. But to try to get through 37 days on a podcast now there's so much that happened each day. There was a crazy amount of things that happened, and I think it's going to forever be hard to bring people up to speed. But the beauty is we filmed so much amazing content, and I first want to start by saying how I think I'm speaking on behalf of everyone, how proud we are of each other and of the team. It's hard, like me and Jacob didn't know Matt and Dick before we came out here. We could have been the wrong characters. We could have been, one of these lads could have been aggressive, temperamental, hot-headed, emotional, too stressed. We literally went in blind, and it's the same for them with us too. So we really started this, a world first, as a team, as strangers.
Yeah. We known each other for 4 days before we head off into the jungle.
Yeah,
for a month.
as strangers, and we just connected. We just mucked in as a team and just got the job done. And sometimes one or all of us were really low energy and one was high energy. Other times it was flipped. Sometimes someone was injured. For the first week and a half, my feet were a complete write-off.
I got to know him after 2 weeks.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, Ash was like a little old lady for most of the first 2 weeks. I think your feet, I'm sure there's photos going around somewhere, but
There is. Yeah.
they were borderline, like, if you walked into the doctor's office, they'd be like, you might as well amputate them, because your toes were hanging off, your feet were going inside out, you were walking at a pace, and I think you were saying it yesterday over dinner, you're like, this is Ash Dykes, a big adventurer, can't even walk up a hill.
Yeah, it was, and I'm so surprised. I'm not surprised that I did it, because I've always pushed through such hard pain, but I do know 90% of people would have quit had they have had the pain I was suffering with. It's a pain that I can't explain, and I wish for no one to go through. 3 toenails coming off, blisters, chafing, up to a point that I had to put on some water boots, some water sandals, and hike with water sandals. And I tried my best not to wince. I think there was one day you were like, oh, you're not making noises. Like, you're doing good. And I just knew I needed to keep my head down, focus. I was on the heavy paracetamol, something that I don't think I've ever taken.
Double dosed codeine, man.
Double dose codeine.
You were high that day.
Triple dose. You're like on accident, right? You're like, you're taking one. I'm like, I've taken two. You're like, what? Save some for the rest of us.
It was so funny during the walks because we were walking and he started like whistling and talking and he's keeping up, you know. I'm like, painkillers are working, isn't it? Yeah, I don't even feel my feet.
4 hours later, you're like, oh, it's come back.
And then it kicks it again.
Getting quiet again, gets in the back, gets a little slower, and again, he needs a new one.
It is crazy how effective they are. Because I took them the same day as you. The day we were going back to the
Like you were through camp.
No, going back to the kayaks. And I remember I couldn't feel my feet for like 4 hours. And then you just slowly, you get some sensation back. And I'm like, oh no, this is the come down.
And to describe it, so it felt like my feet had one layer of skin left. And each step, it felt it was just going to split and the flesh was going to come out. Felt like fire. Horrible. Hated it. And you know what it was? Just needed 1 day of dry feet. I had 1 day of dry feet and they started to recover after a week and a half, 2 weeks.
I did not understand what was happening because every day it got worse.
Yeah.
Every day we were counting out the painkillers that we had. Okay, you need 2 to go up. You need one or two where we're going to the top. You need at least 2 going down. You need 1 for the portage. How much we got left?
Yeah.
And then we walk up Table Mountain, which was considerably one of the hardest hikes we were gonna do.
Yeah, and longest.
We arrive in camp. He's like, I felt good. My feet seem to be having recovered today. I'm like, what? We just hiked for 12 hours. How did your feet recover during this hike? Just the fact that they were not wet.
Yeah. Just dry.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then those 2 days in base camp, I was Ash Dykes again. I went back to normal. I actually started to enjoy it. Because for the first week and a half, I don't think I enjoyed 1 day, unfortunately. You can't, when there's that much pain, you can't think of anything other than, like, one of my toes had flesh hanging out, and Dick said it, he thought that is something that will not recover until we're finished, and it'll probably be surgery or stitches, because the flesh looked like it needed to be pushed back in, and then maybe stitched up, but even that started to recover, and it was just like, oh wow, and that alone is enough to lift your morale.
And that was good because the days after,
Yeah.
Matt and I, we thought we were gonna recover at Table Mountain. We had 2 full days off. They're like, okay, we can eat a bit. You know, we got some extra food stored here.
Yeah.
We can rest a bit. After that, our legs were just spaghetti. We couldn't do anything. We were so tired.
Yeah.
And that's where you got your energy back. You're like, you
energy,
know what? I'll go front now. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, what a timing!
Yeah, it
What a
was.
timing. And somehow it just kept on shifting like
Yeah.
that. When you were down, we were up. So this was like.
But I wonder if it was what we said, that was there that element of competition, like I said, the portage day when we were going back at the same time. Like I was like I really wanted to keep up with you, and I was managing.
Yeah.
So I
Because
think
you were dropping behind.
yeah.
And I was just high on energy.
Yeah,
'cause
you were
3 were
going,
low on
yeah,
energy.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden I heard someone behind, and I was like, well, that's not Matt, because he's already dropped. And I was like, who's that? I said, who's that? Didn't I? You were like, it's Matt. I was like, oh, he's back. And you were just like in secret competition trying to catch me.
Yep. I don't think we had the energy that day.
Yeah.
That was a tough day.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's also just the moment to need to step up, because one of those days I remember we were all down.
Yeah.
And I was like, who's gonna go front? You know, at the moment we lose the trail a little bit,
Yeah.
and we all just stand still, waiting for somebody to look for the trail, and nobody's doing anything.
Yeah.
Everybody's just as a zombie, and then
Yeah.
somehow somebody's got to step up, and one of us does it, you know, and then somehow you get the energy from somewhere like, okay, I made it now anyway. I'm looking for the trail.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then somehow you get the energy back.
Yeah, you do. And then I think the only time where our energy did start to come to an abrupt end and our motivation disappeared and we were hit by the realization of we cannot continue was Tabletop Mountain, the second highest peak that we were trying to make it to.
So should we just go back to that? Because the previous podcast that anyone would have seen was filmed at base camp on Table Mountain. Was that before or after the summit attempt?
After the summit attempt.
It's after the summit attempt. So we probably need to recap that.
Yeah, covered that.
But just short context.
Yeah.
Run through what happened and how that sort of decision came about?
Yeah, just briefly, because we have already mentioned it, we were just hiking through what seemed to be progressively becoming more and more impenetrable. And we started to cover, what would you say, 100, 200 meters in an hour?
6 hours to go kilometer and a half. And it got to the point that like you had the machete in your hand and it's like, which one is doing the favor? I remember I was like trying to unstick my machete. It became a hindrance to have a machete, not a help at some point.
We described it like a web, right? It was kind of like we would go through the bamboo and we would be webbed and tangled, and like we couldn't even help ourselves.
The straps,
horrible.
Bags would get caught, your laces would get caught, everything would be tangled up, and your arm would be backwards.
And there was a point where it almost hit you as PTSD before Tabletop Mountain. That was when we were starting to scramble up.
Yeah.
And we saw Dick just sort of throw down his bag and like say, "This sucks," or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, 6 years ago I tried to go up the mountain. And it was, as the crow flies, 16 kilometers. It took us more than 10 days. And we were about to do something similar. And when we started off, it was just up and down, up and down. And then we got this really dense vegetation. And then it got to be the same vegetation as I had 6 years ago, which is very dense and very thorny. So you have to clear everything in order to go through. Otherwise you'd just be cut up, you know. All these thorns go through your trousers and everything. So you just keep on going and up again and down again. I was like, I can't do this again, not with 25 kilos on my back. And it's got to be the same fucking jungle again all the way. Like, I can't do it.
And then that was the first time we also saw Jacob flip out.
In fairness, I should have seen that coming because it was the rucksack was the final straw, right?
I was struggling enough as it is. I didn't have my camera out, and then Dick went up front to cut the trail.
Yeah.
You very kindly, very strongly carried his bag for a few hundred meters and passed it over to me. So
which by the way was probably about 60 kilos.
Yeah.
I have a big rucksack on my back, which we always normally do, and Dick's on the front. And this was not flat ground. This was like going down and up and down.
Mountainous jungle terrain.
Yeah. So going under logs and shit like that.
You're like, your feet are tripping over roots and vines. You get caught up in stuff. You can't see where you're putting your feet.
It's hard to walk with no backpack.
Exactly. I got Dick's bag on my front, my bag full of electronics on the back, got, like lenses, camera kit, everything in there. So my bag's already heavy as hell as it is. Then Dick's stuff with all the cooking and food stuff in. And I'm really stumbling all over the place. I made like 50, 60, 70 meters.
And I remember I was like, Jacob, it's not working out, is it? And you're like, no, it's fucking not. And then you're like, boys, we got to talk about this. And I was like, here we go. And that was the first kind of,
that was the first
moment of, it wasn't a conflict. It was just like,
I cannot fucking do this. We've got to find another way.
Yeah. It was an outbreak of like the whole stress, the anxiety, the pain just out there, wasn't it? And because I heard it because I was limping behind, and then I heard it going on because I heard it from a distance, and then I came over and heard you guys talking about it, and I think it was a case of then I'd like tap you on the shoulder and be like, you know, we've got it, we've got to push on, we've got to continue, and I could see in your face you were just like, I hate this.
I was like, why are we going up this fucking shit mountain? It's like, nothing up there. We're just going to go up there, look at a view, go, yeah, that's all right, and then go back down. I didn't realise quite how nice it would be up there.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is pointless. We'll go the wrong direction from the sea.
This is not the main objective, and Matt and I have been there. So we were like,
you were trying to tell us, weren't you?
It is not the main objective, but it is
so worth
one of the best places on the planet.
Yeah.
We need to go there. We are going here. Doesn't matter how or what, you know.
Yeah.
And they were like, I don't know, man. Let's keep it at the main objective. No, we're going. So I'm so glad we did.
Yeah, you know. And then we got. Was it the next day or 2 days after we made it to base camp?
2 days.
2 days after that.
Because we camped in Scorpion Camp.
Yes. Oh yeah.
That night.
Yeah.
And then the following evening we reached base camp.
We reached base camp, yeah, and we had 2 days off. We ate peanut butter. You all updated there. But then the last remainder of it, when we started to walk back, what kind of events happened then? You know, I want to say that
It's been a lot.
there's been a lot, and these last 3 days almost seem like the last 3 days of finishing the expedition almost seem like a whole entirely different expedition.
Yeah, really.
It almost feels like a whole separate mission.
Yeah.
Just the last three, it was endurance, and we had all of the snacks we wanted at this point, so we weren't starving anymore. We could eat.
Let's not jump ahead. Let's run.
Let's run it. Yeah.
So going back from where we left off with everyone, it's
Base camp.
leaving base camp on Table Mountain.
Yeah.
What did we have ahead of ourselves in those next?
How long did we have
2.5
left?
weeks.
It was 2.5 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Crazy thing was going down that mountain and looking at the trail that we made.
Yeah.
That just didn't seem to end. We were like, I made this on the way up
Yeah.
in a day?
It was like, it's like you had like thick jungle and this carved trail through fallen trees over boulder. I remember at some point, me and Jacob were like, how the fuck did we get up here? It was like rocks, and there was no open forest in those first 300-400 meters. And it was like a clear cut trail straight through the middle.
Yeah.
I don't know how you, I don't know how
It was
you did
insane
that.
looking back, wasn't it? Thinking, oh God, felt a bit sick thinking
We went
that
up
we walked
this.
up that.
And
Yeah.
after that, we got to the fort again,
Yeah.
where we thought on the way up, the portage around the boulder wall was one of the heaviest things we had done.
So what is a portage for people that don't know?
So we had to stop at some point. Previous expeditions that had been there said there's got to be a boulder wall. So
And this is on the river.
on the river, a wall full of like massive boulders going up the river where even the fish and everything cannot go up. There's no fish above that. And we arrive there and we see this massive boulders going for 300, 400, 500 meters. No way to get up. So Matt and I were scouting for about 4 hours to get a trail around that. So what we need to do, we need to pack up all the kayaks, all the gear, and portage all our stuff around that boulder wall, which was essentially 1.5 kilometers.
1.2 or something it was.
Portaging being just carrying gear basically around an obstacle.
So basically everything in our kayaks plus our kayaks
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
over a certain distance to get back to a part of the river we can still kayak on.
And then to inflate the kayaks again. It was a big ordeal. It was a big day job for sure.
A good call in the end, because
Yeah.
above that, we weren't sure at first how far we could still pedal. We
No.
could do the whole thing and we could only pedal for 1 kilometer.
Yeah.
But we could do quite a bit of distance after that, which otherwise we would have to walk through the jungle
Yeah.
with the part of our gear. So it was a good call. But it was just very heavy because it's, for Matt and I, we had our backpacks and then one of the barrels with the food on top of the backpacks. And then walking around with that, going back, pack up the kayak, and get the kayak back
Yeah.
down the river.
And I made a mistake in doing my rucksack first, which is actually the easiest because you have the proper straps. So I just did the rucksack in the first round, and then the second round I had the kayak bag. And the kayak bag has straps, but there's no waist support.
Yeah.
So you're walking, and the whole bag is moving like this, and then you had the barrel. And I think I was stopping like every 20 or 30 meters, and that was for me I think one of the hardest days, one of the hardest things I did the entire trip.
And then the way back was we had it better sorted out because now I put the kayak bags in our big dry bags. We had better straps. But we were just so low on energy that was one of the hardest things.
Yeah.
Even the
Oh,
thought,
skinnier at that point as well.
Yeah.
Right.
the thought of packing up the kayaks.
Yeah.
Like I remember we got there,
Yeah.
and I was just looking at them. They're all sandy and muddy, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck, we really got to put these in the bags, and then we got to set them up again.
Yeah.
They did all of them. They packed all of them.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, but I don't know what happened. We just found this second gear. We're like, you know what?
did.
Fuck it.
I know what happened. I remember thinking this might be our last portage, our last pack up of the kayaks,
How many times did I say that?
and my last time hiking in these jungle boots. And I remember thinking, get it done, get to the other side, because tomorrow we hit that junction and we're back on the copper now. And that's what was good. That's why I was like, yes, let's go, let's get it, because it was much worse going that way, knowing that's it. We're taking a 2-week trip, leaving the copper now behind,
And you have to go.
Yeah,
and we've got all this way to come back.
true.
And so now I was like, we're getting back to the Coppernoe River, heading north towards the sea. So that's what gave me my extra wind, my energy.
That was a great day, and we finally got back to that camp that has fish again, and we had a big meal. I think that really helped. What did we have that night? What did we get? Mara's stew.
Oh, we did. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah,
That was the first thing, right?
No, first.
Oh, that was the way up.
the way up.
Yeah.
The way back, I managed to get an anyamara before nightfall. So
Yeah.
we had a really early night, and that's the one that bit me on the finger.
Yeah.
Because we only we had a couple lures. One of them was really good, but what was the problem with it? It lost the tail that makes the sound, which the wolffish really like.
One of the piranhas bit it off.
Yeah.
The wolffish are fish that can be like this big. Big.
bigger.
Yeah, even
Yeah.
bigger. They are more, you'd say, more notorious than
Yeah,
piranha,
they're
right?
they're way more feared than piranha.
Yeah.
But
So that's what he's talking about when he caught his finger
yeah.
on a damn wolffish. That's not good.
But I managed to get one on a really. We had one lure which was a kind of a cheaper Chinese lure, and for some reason, like maybe you get one out of the 10 bites you got would stick.
Yeah.
So one of the first throws I got that night, it grabbed it and I pulled it onto the sand, and immediately it came off. And I was like, I do not want to have to catch a fish in the dark again. So I literally just grabbed it while it was still alive.
Yeah.
Try to get it in the eyes, because if you get it in the eyes, it can't bite you.
Yeah.
But obviously it's still alive, so then it turned and then it kind of slashed me with one finger. But
And I saw all of it, so you were practically wrestling with it
Yeah,
in shallow
yeah.
water. Yeah.
And I remember walking back to camp feeling like such a hero. And then Jacob, you're like, Matt, I love you. I was just like holding this Anyamara, like, we're gonna go tonight.
And we did, wasn't that when we had like portion after portion after portion?
It was big.
That was
It was a
Yeah,
nice
right.
size.
That was
It put me off a bit of Mara for a while, because you guys were like trying to catch them for lunch the next day, and I was like secretly praying you didn't catch any fish, because I was like, I can't eat more fish after that.
That's hilarious. Yeah, yeah. But that was that was getting back to the junction on the Kopenham River was another big change in the expedition, where we went from hiking and hacking through the bush to being on the river, starting to eat really well again. Access to water.
Changed our approach to the days as well, because usually we
Yeah.
rise at first light and then go all day and then
Yeah.
stop just before sunset.
Yeah.
Whereas once we got past the junction, we would start getting up earlier before sunlight,
Yeah.
kayak for a bit throughout the cooler hours, and then take a break in the afternoon. So it was a very different style of expedition.
It was different, and I think it was probably at that point, just before we joined the river again, that we were all at our skinniest and weakest, for sure. I think that from that point we started to eat more fish. We started to put on a little bit more weight, didn't we?
You started to have the lunch and snacks.
Started to have lunch and snacks.
Where
yeah.
our snack used to be our lunch, aka our peanut bag that we
Yeah.
would split. We would
Yeah.
now have as a snack around 9, 10 o'clock,
Yeah,
and then have a lunch around like
yeah.
12, 1-ish, you know?
And this is probably where we start to find a little bit more of our routine, and we started to muck in more, because I feel when we were hiking through the jungle, the routine was all skewered and quite off, wasn't it? And we were so exhausted. It was a case of set the hammocks up, eat maybe lentils, wasn't it? I think it was, and then straight to bed, sort our feet out, get some talc on and whatnot, pull
So
the,
autopilot.
pull the ticks off, with like hundreds of ticks between us.
Do you remember that night we were essentially like grooming each other? We were standing in the river, like, Dick, you would do my back first, and then I would do yours, and it's like, tick.
And it would take like
After tick.
15 minutes. Like
Hundreds. You know, the most painful tick that I had was right on my bell end.
I had that a few times as well.
And honestly, it felt like I was stung by a wasp or something. I would instantly stop, throw down my rucksack, pull out my penis, and remove what was the tiniest little tick that caused the most horrific pain. And still now there's still a little bit of pain.
maybe the
on my
head
bell
is
end.
still in there.
Oh, yeah, honestly, I've spent a while searching.
It's a big area you got to search.
Yeah. Oh God, honestly, it's even now I catch it a little bit, and it's just like, oh, it's getting better, but it's not nice. It's not nice.
No. But going back to what you said about the routine change, another thing
Yeah.
was we started to be social. Because the
Yeah.
days, honestly, the days before, you would wake up,
Yeah,
you'd be like, okay, good morning, guys.
yeah,
We say good morning,
Sometimes we would that with our
no.
headphones in. Just back out.
We'd eat
I would say good morning to Jacob like 2 times and he wouldn't reply because he had his headphones in.
I think we always say good morning.
We always say good
And
morning.
then we would eat our oats, we pack up,
Yeah.
and then we discuss briefly the plans for the day.
Yeah.
We march. I'm gonna say march. It's not walking through the woods.
No.
It's marching.
Yeah.
Basically in silence.
Yeah.
Until we take a break, we sit down,
Talk about food.
we talk about food,
We share about 20 peanuts.
and then
each.
we continue. We
we
walk
continue.
in silence. We find a camp. We make dinner. We talk a little bit about the day.
Yeah.
Discuss it, like when are we gonna wake up tomorrow. We go to our beds, and that was the routine for like 2.5 weeks.
It really was, yeah, yeah. And that's what I say about the whole team, how we really mucked in. That would potentially drive people's nutted, or that would make someone flip, or that would be too much for anyone, you know? But we just knew what the mission was. We knew what we had to do each day. We knew where we wanted to be each evening. And we just got stuck in, right? We just kind of knew, well, this is it. We have no choice. We have to do what we've got to do, get the job done. And there was something really nice about that. And then at the end of the day, you'd look at the map and you'd realize like you've covered 3 kilometers or 4 kilometers.
You move this much.
Yeah.
And we have to do like this.
Yeah.
It was on the change also when we got back at the junction of the
Massive
Kappa now.
change.
You
Yeah.
guys are like, yeah, but we need to make distance. And Matt and I are like, no worries, we are gonna make
This is
distance.
gonna
Like,
go.
no, but it was so hard to imagine after 2.5 weeks
It was.
doing like a kilometer, a couple of kilometers away a
Yeah.
day, and we were like, no, 2025 is possible. Like how all of
Yeah.
a sudden, and then as soon as we got it back on the Kappa River, like,
It really started drift.
25.
So say we've got the
Yeah.
route point A to point B, source to C. So the first 2 weeks, if you look at this mass, we maybe covered this much. And
Yeah.
we were apparently going to be finished in half that time. In like another 2 weeks, another 2.5 weeks, we were going to do. And it was just unfathomable at that point, wasn't it? We were just like, couldn't get our mind around it. We were like, no, this is going to take at least another month or so. But then that's when, we hit junction, we joined Copenhagen, and we really started to dig deep. And it was funny, the difference between us four. Me and Jacob were all about, we loved covering distance and like looking down at the map.
That
thinking,
word really got on my nerves.
That were, yeah.
Distance.
And we were so different, and I think it kind of balanced each other out in a nice way, where Dick and Matt would be really happy, sort of plodding along, going with the flow of the river, checking out the wildlife, enjoying the morning. And I was kind of like, this is nice and cold. This is the best temperature to cover a big distance before the sun comes out and boils us to death. And we just didn't find that even ground. And eventually,
you will be up front, like making distance. We'd be like, the fucking Jaguar is gonna be right there. He's gonna pass right by it, not have any footage of it.
Yeah.
And we're gonna be here trying to spot something when he
Yeah.
already passed.
and secretly, I am up front and I can hear them say, oh, look at that bellbird. And I'm like, who the fuck gives a damn about bellbird? Let's get the kilometers. So you can see how we butted heads with that, can't you? We were just...
moments like that as well. Where we'd be going along, and then you guys start talking about a tree, and I'm looking up, going, they're all fucking green. I've got no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about these rare trees. I'm like, great. Let's go.
Yeah, and eventually that did. We started, but once we saw we could cover good distance, we started to then enjoy the evenings, and we were happy with stopping early, weren't we? We got excited when we found a good place to camp, even if it was 3-4 p.m. We were like, we've done 20 kilometers or 25. Let's set up camp, let's enjoy the sunset, let's catch fish, let's eat well. Tomorrow we can wake up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. We started to really find the rhythm, I would say, the last week and a half to 2 weeks, where we all started taking individual roles and mucking in more with the nightly routine, and really looking forward to Dick's dishes that he would cook up, because he would want to experiment with different dishes, and Matt was just pulling out fish after fish, and it just slotted into place nicely. And that's when I thought, we're a team. Like that's when I could see, we are pretty unstoppable now at this point. Took a while, but at that point we were like, this is, I think someone, if they were to join from the outside, they would really struggle to fit in. They'd just be like, overwhelmed, or it'd be too much, because it takes a while, I think, to break into that routine. And somehow, I don't know how, but it just seemed to work.
Yeah, agree.
Which was really good. One thing I do want to come on to is the beacon system. The internet, in a very positive way, because it was positive and it was crazy that we were able to get updates out there. But I want to express how difficult that actually was. Because I think people back in civilization thinks like, why aren't they HD? Why aren't they edited? Why is the audio bad? Why aren't you sharing more? Show us more of this. Show us more of that. We want this. And it's like, to put things into context, we would film a 60-second video, unedited, because there's not enough power that we can generate to the power bank to charge the phone to spend a good hour or two editing a good clip. Secondly, we couldn't send it as HD. I had to send it low resolution via WhatsApp to my girlfriend, who would piece it back together because we had to break it down into 4 15-second clips, otherwise it wouldn't send. And then she would piece it back together as low HD, put captions to it, and share. Now, sometimes we wouldn't get signal because of the jungle canopy, no access to the sky. And other times we would get signal, and I was stood sometimes in direct sunlight.
That was the thing.
Hours.
Jacob was backing up some of the footage. Matt was getting the fish out. I was preparing the meals and making the fire.
Yeah.
And Ash would just be standing like somewhere
under one branch.
like trying to get some shade, but yeah, he needed like clear skies. So he had the beacon system out, trying to get some shade, and then for hours and hours on end, and then he came back. How was it?
Got 2 videos out.
Yeah, I got 2 videos out, but I got them out. You know?
Yeah. And then there would be comments that sometimes I'd be able to see saying, we want to see more of it. And I was just, that really stressed me out. That got to me, because I was like, we are doing absolutely everything we can to get content, and it's going to be the worst style content because there's only so much we can edit and clip together and get out. But the fact that we were able to get out with Globalsat and Viasat from the middle of nowhere was just seriously impressive. But that routine became very monotonous, very fast.
Yeah.
The last thing that I wanted to do really was get on that internet system.
The beeping. Oh, the beeping.
The beeping would get you lads really wild, though, wouldn't it? Yeah. Just turn it on, it'd be beep, 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 and you got to find the right signal. There's like beep. Yeah. Oh, but yeah, so that was that. So there's so much content, amazing footage that we all individually filmed on GoPros, on Jacob's main cameras, on the phones, photos as well on really good cameras. So, you know, fear not, there's some immense content coming, but right now we only had the solar power and the internet capacity to send out very raw, rugged, low quality pieces to camera every now and then. But yeah, rest assured there's some immense content.
Yeah, it's gonna come.
Yeah.
So Lincoln, should we fill in on the expedition, and then
Yeah.
previous time we were sat right here, we asked for questions.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
I'm just thinking we could go through those and answer some of those as
Yeah.
well.
that'd be great.
So yeah, should we run through the rest of the expedition, or junction downwards, everything that?
So junction to Wittagren.
Yeah.
Yeah, then Wittengron onwards as well.
Yeah, so Wittagron was our first. That was, although we came across maybe one day before Wittagron a community that we marked down as civilization, it was completely abandoned, and that was day 33.
There's a lot before that.
Yeah.
Let's not forget
Yeah.
the wildlife highlight of the entire expedition.
Oh yeah.
And well, what happened before that made us, timing wise, actually see it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Okay, let's dial that
So,
right
let's,
back.
let's go
Dial
back.
it
So
back, yeah.
a couple of days after kayaking down the expedition, we got back into our flow.
Yeah.
We'd sort of figured out
A
how the
routine.
days go, and we're having these quite nice lunches during the heat of the day. We'd stop about 11:30, 12 o'clock for 2 or 3 hours,
Yeah.
just to get out of the sun, and then kayak again in the evening. We'd made most of our mileage up in those early hours until midday though. And one day we stopped at the side of the river. Dick had taken a phone call on the sat phone to a newspaper to give an interview. You did cook up some great dinner or lunch. Ashley was on the beacon again.
Yeah.
And we'd all just been doing our own thing. I think I was setting up the fire and getting...
Oh, sorting out flights as well.
Yes, we were sorting out flights.
And then we had stuff charging because it was a really hot.
Yeah.
sunny afternoon.
Yeah. Only because we'd made such good progress. Actually,
Yeah.
I brought our flights forward about a week.
Just held up with the interview.
Yeah.
Like how everything was going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put the phone down.
Yeah.
And then we
2
hit
minutes later.
we hit the worst noise any kayaker could possibly imagine.
And we were doing, and I remember hearing you being like, the kayak just exploded. I was like, "Are you serious?" And you're like, "Yeah." I say that. Are you serious? I was just like, "Fuck," because it was the kayak that I was using. So of course, immediately I have all this guilt. I'm like, "Fuck, did I not deflate it enough?" But every single time we stop on a sandbank, I mean, at this point it was second nature. You always deflate it.
Yeah.
You know, that's just for context again. These are inflatable kayaks, and when you're out in the sun in Suriname, it's so intensely hot that the kayak inner tube expands as the air gets hotter and hotter, so it gets firmer and firmer throughout the day. So you're consistently having to let little bits of air out of the kayaks
Several times a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every couple of hours.
Yeah.
And we'd stop for lunch, we'd let some air out, but we'd been sat for a couple of hours and kayak had been in the sun. And it just expanded, and there was a slight fault in it, and it just got to the point where it couldn't take it.
And we are in the middle of the wilderness. It's not a case of, oh no, we're going to have to call Derek and get another one dropped off. We are out there fully.
Probably a week from the nearest.
So we are well prepared for it. We have a patching kit for like the different layers of the kayak.
Yeah.
The thing where there's the most pressure on is like the inner tube. So it's something that it's gonna be really hard to patch because there's so much pressure on it. And what we have been hearing for a while before that was like was the seam of the tube cover tearing up. There's no way that we could fix that. But we're like, okay, it's a cover, so it's all right. It's just supposed to be protecting the inner tube. As long as the inner tube is all right, it's fine.
Yeah.
But then the inner tube came bulking out more and more and more. So we kept it deflated a little bit to like hope it'll be all right. Maybe it's a default in the inner tube. Worst case scenario, if we can patch it, we're even bringing an inner tube, which is big, bulky, heavy, and Matt was carrying in that for 3 weeks in his dry bag already.
Thank God we did.
We did, because that's what we needed to put it back in, because we couldn't patch the whole inner tube. And then Ash and Jacob were like trying to fix with duct tape, so the tube cover could at least like hold in the inner tube. And then it seemed to be all right. I mean, it was like within an hour we got it fixed.
Yeah.
It seemed to be all right. We kept it deflated even a little more.
Yeah.
And then it held up pretty well for a long time.
The next week and a half, it was all right.
Yeah, I mean, that whole repair did take some time. It delayed us probably an hour or so. So we left there. We had to have a tank, which is essentially a little sugary drink.
Energy drink. Yeah.
Sugar powder.
Yeah.
Sugar powder, but we saved them for like a moment where we wanted cheering up a little bit or something. So we popped a tank and tried to forget about it and got cracking with what was left of the afternoon. But that delay meant that we arrived at this certain corner at perfect timing, and from a couple of hundred meters away, what did you see?
Yeah,
It
well,
was a little bit before that. I think half an hour before that.
Yeah.
Matt and I were pedaling together,
Oh, yeah.
and Matt told me, if you were to design the perfect habitat for a jaguar, it would be this, right?
yeah.
Like these perfect banks, to patrol, not too high, not too low, sandbanks with lots of iguanas. Like if you were to design a habitat for jaguar, this would be it, right? And a couple of corners later, like 300-400 meters away, Matt's like, look, there's a jaguar. And we are all looking like, where? Like on the bank. Like, I'm not seeing it, bro. Like, where? It's like far away. And then started walking, and we suddenly started spotting it. So we just get everything out. First thing I did was like, I put my speaker on, because we have some wildlife sounds on it that some of the animals reply to, or at least get interested in. So first of all, I put my speaker on, get the cameras out. We pedaled towards it. And there on the side, she just sits, looks at us, doesn't go away, looks at us. We got, we're all entangled in like the branches and the vines, and we're pretty close. And actually the current is driving us closer as well. And at one point, she'd seen enough, like, these aren't jaguars. I'm gonna go. She turns around, play the sound again. She's like, what?
She comes back.
Comes back, stands there again. We get better angles. We get pictures. We get videos.
This is unreal.
We get selfies. We get videos of each other looking at it, photographing it. We get just to get a look at it, without any video or photo. The whole shebang.
It was the best jaguar sighting I could have asked for, and something I don't think we ever expected to experience, for sure. And the thing is, there were loads of signs of jaguar, like for the whole week build up to that, where there was jaguar poo camp. We then came across a sandbank that had jaguar paw prints. So it was leading up to it, but there's never any knowing, when we saw it went from an extreme low and having a kayak burst in the wilderness to an extreme high of seeing a wild jaguar in its natural habitat stand on the side of the riverbank and stare us all in the eyes for at least a minute or two. And that was just an instant high, wasn't it?
It was like you said, I mean, everything seems to happen for a reason. And if the kayak didn't explode and we left on time, probably we wouldn't have seen it. Because when I spotted it, it was already on the move. And like Dick was saying, the reason that they like these high banks is because they can be high above the capybaras, which are down by the water. So they can actually walk and then jump down from a height that surprised them. Yeah. So that's exactly what it was doing. It was just walking along the side. Maybe in another 5 minutes, it would have been gone.
Yeah.
So it was just the most perfect timing ever.
Yeah. And potentially it was the jaguar's first and last time ever seen human beings.
Entirely possible, yeah.
Right?
And note for me, this was my 7th jaguar that I've seen, my 7th jaguar sighting. But the previous in the last 12 years.
12 years.
But the previous 6 have all been a few seconds, have been at night, have been no pictures, videos whatsoever. So this was by far the best sighting that I've had.
So cool.
I think for the content that we captured, the shots of that one individual encounter, normally you'd have to see like 10 jaguars to get that. Because it's like you say, most people are like, oh yeah, we saw a jaguar. Did you get any pictures? No, it was too fast.
Yeah, right.
And it was like, we saw a jaguar. Like, oh really? He's like, yeah, we got videos, we got pictures, we got videos of Ash watching it, we got videos of Dick watching it and making pictures. We got everything.
Easy, right?
It was insane.
Yeah, it was so surreal. It was a mentality. And and we've partnered with Free the Wild as well, right? Free the Wild. And so, one of the aims of this expedition was to document all the different wildlife, because what Free the Wild do is they work tirelessly to try to get the wildlife from behind bars, from being exported, from being in zoos or as domesticated pets and out there in the wilderness. So they wanted us to document different species of wildlife that we come across. The fact that we were able to add jaguar to that list.
King of the jungle. The
king of the jungle,
ultimate animal.
And to get the photos that we caught and the videos was just photo of the expedition, for sure. Just very special. And then after that sighting, obviously we were high for, the rest of the day. I think that evening, that's when I caught my first piranha.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Back to back, pulled them out. And the piranhas they're big here. What?
Yeah.
This big, right? Maybe
like that.
Gee whiz.
They're not the red bellies that you get in the Amazon basin, which are like this kind of size.
Which are the ones that most people are aware of, isn't it? These ones are big, mighty, heavy, strong things.
And that night we had everything. Usually we try and split up our camp a little bit, like the place where we do dishes, place where we bathe, the place where we catch and clean our fish. Yeah. But we only had one little muddy beach, so that's where we did everything. So what happens? We're catching the fish there, we're cleaning the fish there, we're cleaning our pots there, we're brushing our teeth. Electric eel comes in, gets out the scraps. So there's a big electric eel over there whilst we're brushing our teeth. Little later,
spectacled caiman.
Actually, and the big spectacled caiman comes up to him, and at night actually comes through our camp to get like a leftovers of the fish.
Yeah, just the piranha head that had been left on the rocks, right?
But just imagine, just try and picture that. Like you are standing in the dark. We usually put our headlights on one of the kayaks so you can kind of see what you're doing when you're bathing.
Yeah.
And you're up to like your waist, and then every now and then you see this electric eel kind of just surfacing because they breathe air. So you're just kind of keeping an eye, keeping your distance, and then you see the eye shine of a big spectacled caiman, like a head like this. and it becomes very normal. You know, if that was the first night, you'd be up to your ankles like splashing around
Yeah,
in a bit
that's
of
so
water.
true, actually.
And now you're like, it's all right, you know.
Yeah.
Just keep your distance, and it's good.
Yeah, so that day we literally saw jaguar in the wild. We caught 4 piranhas.
Big black piranha.
We had a caiman patiently waiting for us to clear the riverbank so it could get there. We had curious electric eel make its way, and we were brushing our teeth. Giant liver otters which came by, and we are just there, blessed to see all of this in the middle of the jungle, amongst the wildlife, brushing our teeth, grooming, bathing before bed, and we're just surrounded by.
We're just part of the system now.
We're just part of the system. That's
Well,
amazing, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
When we say sometimes, like we say, we unlock a certain animal. You know, like when Matt first came to Suriname, he really wanted to see an anaconda. Took him so long to find his first one, but after that, they just kept on coming. And we now sort of had the idea, you know what? We just might have just unlocked cats, you know?
Yeah.
The next morning,
Oh,
we see this eye shine on the riverbank. Well, like, is it a slender tree boa, a snake that has a pretty decent eye shine? And I was like, no, it's a different color. It's got to be something else. So we start pedaling up to it, and Matt is up front.
Yeah, I was like, it's green. It's going to be a cat. And then we get close, and it's maybe 3 meters off the ground in a tree. So it's either got to be an ocelot or it's got to be a margay. And it was a margay, which is one of the smallest cats, one of the hardest cats to see. Super long tail, they're really good climbers. And when we got the whole thing on video, it was the best sighting I ever had of a margay.
They're following warning right after a jaguar sighting. It just continued to. Yeah, the wildlife just really sort of was abundant when we got back to the river after the jungle. Because in the jungle, the wildlife is there, but of course they hear you coming from a mile away as your machete in hand, and they're being quite loud where you're standing. So we didn't see an awful lot, and we weren't walking at night time, the best time to see wildlife, because we were exhausted. So we got down to the river. It was almost overwhelming, the amount of eyeballs that you see at night time. You're just shining your torch, and it's like, oh, caiman.
Capybara.
Oh, look at all of these. Spider eyes everywhere. It's like, you know, just amazing to see and just have so much life surrounding you. And you get to a point where you become fully comfortable with what is deemed as the uncomfortable. And it just becomes the way of life and the routine. And you just crack on. Yeah.
I think that stretch of river made the first few weeks worth it. Because
Yeah.
it was finally the jungle was rewarding us for all of the crap we've been through in those first 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, that was really special.
It really was.
And I think all of us were at that point sort of aiming, okay, the next big milestone will be Fungal Islands, where there's most likely going to be people.
Yeah.
How will we react? How will they react? You know?
Yeah.
But first, in order to get there, we need to pass Mother Falls, which is essentially a big cascade of rapids. But Matt was there about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, and they managed to figure out a route with drones and everything that was relatively easy. So we tied everything down, made sure that if the rapids were too big, if we would flip, we wouldn't lose anything. And that morning was pretty intense because we stepped on the kayaks, and it was like, I have one demand. It's got to be dry when we get over these rapids, because I need to drone this, you know, getting off the rapids. As soon as we arrive at the rapids, it starts pouring rain.
Yeah, it was such an eerie morning as well. Like, it was a beautiful morning, wasn't it? Misty, but yeah, no good for the drone. But the crazy thing, the air temperature felt a little bit chilly. We're all acclimatized now, but the actual river water was super warm. So if you got a little bit cold, you just splash yourself with this really warm river water. Like, even when you drink from it, it's just warm water that you're drinking. It's crazy.
We would leave our bottles outside at night. We fill it up with water, we leave it outside so it's cold in the morning.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you have to drink warm river.
Yeah, that's it.
Also a great way to warm up. If it's raining and you get cold, you jump in the river and it's like a warm bath.
Yeah, it really is. And that rapid system was really fun. Emptied the boats a few times. But it was just really good to just navigate.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but I am so impressed at how your kayaking improved. I mean, everyone. I mean, like, considering you'd never done it before, right?
I had done it when I was 15 before.
But on white water?
No, and in hard canoe boats.
Yeah, because I remember the first day when we came back down from the wall, like very simple rapids. It just wasn't working out. You were
Wasn't
going
working
sideways
out.
every time. I could hear you like huffing and puffing, and I was like,
Yeah,
This is
we got
this is gonna
I think it's locked down.
we got like 300 kilometers of kayaking to go.
And the hilarious clip we've got of Ash that's just as we leave the portage section to begin that down river section of kayaking, I'm filming Ash. He's like, right, this next 200 meters are going to determine how the rest of this expedition goes.
Oh, really?
100 meters later, he's sideways on a set of rapids. His entire boat is capsizing. Good to go, right? Go, we lose a GoPro.
Oh, that's
lost the GoPro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, it was about 100 meters in, not even that.
Yeah, no,
and
it
I
was-
was like, the next 100 meters dictates how the rest of the journey will go. So let's hope the next 100 meters is a good one. And it went terribly wrong. I was huffing and puffing, pissed off, swearing. I've lost the GoPro. That's the end of the documentary. We've lost everything.
That was such a rookie mistake. That GoPro we hadn't backed the footage up on yet.
Yeah.
And it had probably 10 days worth of.
10 days of very crucial stuff.
How did you find that?
I don't know.
The GoPro fell off the boat,
In a rapid.
In a
And they
rapid.
Found it.
and we're all feeling, and we're like shaking our head. Nah, no chance. And the next minute, Jacob just picks up. And then we were all screaming, and like, that was one of the biggest highlights. Yeah.
I was like shoulder deep in these cavities, like rolling my hand out.
Yeah.
I'm either getting my hand bitten off or going to find the GoPro.
Yeah.
I'm not leaving till it's gone.
Oh,
I was like
God.
rolling down all these cracks. I
That's-
felt something and like, surely not. Pulled it out. I was like,
You start screaming, holy shit. But then after that, yeah, you're right. I really started to not only get the hang of it, but I was ready. And the waterfalls and rapids, you would look at me and I'd be like, come on, let's go. And I really managed to, get it down to a T after that.
And I was always jealous that you never seem to get stuck. You have a very special skill for getting stuck sideways above rapids. Vic, you always manage to get through shallow water without getting out your kayak. You have a good system where you like push with your paddle and with your hand. I try to do that, it doesn't work out. I always end up dragging. And then you just seem to cruise through everything. I'm like, how? Am I really that much heavier?
I remember us looking at Jacob and we were watching. About 5 minutes went by. And then you just looked over and said, Jacob has a real knack for going down rapids sideways, doesn't he?
Why did you struggle? Like, how does he do this every time? Just aim straight.
in my head, I'm like, this is great. And then all of a sudden a rock comes out of nowhere and I'm like, okay, I'll go left here. I'll start trying to go left and I'll just, maybe I'm looking at the rock too much, but I just go straight into it. And then as soon as I hit it, I'm like, everyone else seems to bounce off it. But mine's like, no, you're going to climb this rock. And then you goes and knock off the rock, and then I just sit there, like, and it just starts rotating in the rapids.
And there's nothing you can do because we've all done the rapids. We're all at the end and we're just sat there
Watching.
floating, heads bobbing. And we're just looking at Jacob getting out of his kayak, getting back in thinking he's going to get out again. No, he has to climb out again, pushes it. Oh, hits another rock. We're still bobbing. Oh, he's going backwards. Oh, another rock. He gets out of his kayak, tries to correct, sits down too, so he hits another rock. You're just
I was
like,
so angry all the time in these rapids. Occasionally I get down one without an issue, and I was like, that was fun.
Yeah.
And then I'd try another one, and I'd get stuck, and then my boat would flood, and I'd be like, this is the worst thing in the world.
Mother Falls, man, it's surprisingly crazy. Like, good for you.
No, I filled up a lot.
Oh, because you remember the shortcut what we did with all the plants and everything?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got through that
You
one.
came down, straight. You guys came down, rock.
Yeah.
Had to get out, push the kayak.
The only time we had to go back on ourselves is what I nailed.
Yeah, we had to go back. Yeah, that gave us a bit of PTSD.
Oh, that did. Remember when we went down the wrong side channel?
That's it. Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
that
We had
was
to walk right back
I
up.
kind of enjoyed that.
It was going too smooth.
It was.
Yeah.
I was so angry.
But then we had that a lot during this trip. It was like, it's going smooth for like a day.
And then we would just be backhanded in the face and reminded.
Oh, you want some
actually-
challenges?
Yeah.
Here you go.
And it was actually going back up there that this, which you are probably all aware of, I scratched on a rock and on like these ferns, these rough fern, and it was one of the bittersweet. It was like, ow, that really hurt, but it gave this itchy effect, and I hadn't been itching this whatsoever. And this is the bacterial infection that you all saw me and Dick popping.
That we all
This was
have.
coming out.
I got a couple.
That we all
brewing
have.
here.
Yeah,
See one there.
yeah. This is actually on Matt's arm. Did we talk about you fainting? We discussed that in
never
the
happened.
podcast.
It's in the previous podcast. Yeah.
It is in the previous podcast. And I think it was only a couple of days after that we then needed to, it was oozing out. You couldn't see my ankle bones anymore. It was just one big fat cankle.
Yeah.
And then it started to ooze out like yellow pus and blood, and I had to go on antibiotics. And
That's what we did on after Motherfalls.
that was after Motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get past Motherfalls.
Yeah.
We see this massive building,
Yeah.
old hammer camp of Fungu Island, which used to be like a one of the touristy places. But the last couple of years, it's been going down in activity a lot. But there's always people there, right? So we arrive, we get into the building, like, hello, anybody? Look around, nothing. We get up to the building, we enjoy the view, we make some drone videos, we get a bag of peanuts out,
Yeah.
and there's literally nobody there. We were just expecting this is gotta be the spot where we're first gonna see people.
I think it was day 33 or day 34, so we're really looking forward to see people. I wanted to scream like, hello, to someone, like, well, you're the first person we see. And it was so underwhelming,
It was, right?
right?
Yeah.
It was just like, we felt flat. We were like, okay, should we crack on then?
I felt like there'd been some kind of global apocalypse that we're not aware of.
Yeah, it was completely
like-
abandoned.
Because the last time I was there, there was 30 or 40 people living
There was
there.
evidence to suggest that someone was there, but they weren't there right there and then. It's like there was someone living there, right?
Yeah,
But
they were off fishing. Or something.
maybe they were, yeah. But
we saw them the next day.
yeah,
True.
they were going back, weren't they?
Yeah, they were getting new groceries and stuff and everything. So that was the
Yeah.
next day. Was the same day? No, next day, right?
The following day.
Following day it was, yeah.
We were going downstream again, so we didn't stay for too long on
No.
Fungu Island. We were going downstream, and a day later, I was just filming myself. I put my camera on the front of the kayak. I was just doing like a little talk, like how everything was going and what we expected of Fungu. And I was like, wait, I hear a boat. And right at the time, there's a boat coming around the corner. Wait, guys, we all know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you guys are the first people we see. But obviously, if they stop, driving the boat, you don't have any wind anymore, so you're burning in the sun like we do.
Yeah.
So it was pretty fast, like, oh, okay, yeah, we're going back to Google, okay, bye.
Yeah, that's it.
And I'm like, that's one of the first people.
Yeah,
we
it was
saw,
very
you know.
fast, wasn't it? Yeah, and very underwhelming
Fucking
again.
piss.
But I don't
But
think
it was the next day, wasn't it, that we arrived then in Whittigron, which that was civilization for us. I think
that's what we
even
were
though it
looking
wasn't.
for at Fungo. That was the
Yeah.
feeling we were hoping
Yeah.
to get.
So we arrived in Whittigron, a small community, our first community that we came across, certainly that had people. And we had low expectations. We knew that there was going to be a food drop off. We knew that there was a lady willing to allow us to stay at her place, but we didn't know what that looked like. Could be a tin shelter with some poles to hang the hammocks up. And we rocked up. There was a little platform. I think we had a little bit of heat exhaustion that day, probably. Just, the heat was...
The last half an hour,
Yeah, we
the
were
bridge did not seem to get any closer.
Yeah.
Everything was overheating. My speaker has never overheated ever. It was
Yeah, stopped working.
under the front of my kayak in the shade. It stopped working. My
Yeah.
phone, I was gonna make a drone shot. I had to literally cool off my phone in the water
Yeah.
before I could make the drone shot. Like
Yeah.
everything was overheating, including us.
Yeah, we were cooked. And that day we'd left at like 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. or something.
We woke up at 3, left at 4.
We woke up 3 left.
I think, yeah.
We planned to take like a lunch during this. This is a hot day. Yeah. Planned to take a lunch, and then we realised that rather than take a lunch, we could just crack on for another 2 hours and make it there by
Lunch.
1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Or like, let's just do that. But it meant we were kayaking during the heat of the day, and the river's wide.
Which we should have, which we were doing a lot anyway.
Yeah.
But that just felt extra hot that day.
But also, I think the tide had just turned for that
Probably,
last
yeah.
kilometer because we were going, and not only was it hot, but I really felt there was resistance against us on that side.
And that was our first time experiencing the
Tides.
tide, wasn't it? Yeah. But we made it, and we started getting the boats on board, and things start slowly coming together. And then you were speaking to a local who was bypassing on the bridge, right?
Sanjay.
And he kind of clicked once you explained and then he sent out an offer for.
He was like, where are you guys coming from? From Fungo Island? I'm like, yeah, sort of, but way above that, you know, like 34 days. You're kind of like the first people we speak. You're like, wait. So, you guys want something cold?
Yeah.
Yes. You guys want some Coke? Like, yes.
Massive bottle of Coke that he brought down for us, and we went through it within minutes.
That is the Surinamese hospitality, you know. They feel like you're overheated. He's like, these guys need some cold Coke.
I love how we got it. A lot of people
Sure.
don't get it.
Yeah.
But he got it, and he was like, "You need something cold. You want a cold Coke right now, don't you?" Yeah, I love that.
I was still like chest deep in the water trying to unload the boat.
Yeah.
He just passed me the Coke off the pier, and I was just like, yes.
But I think the first people we saw on the boat, the people we already knew, you really had the feeling that they didn't understand. We're like, yeah, we've been kayak, you know, we've been in the jungle for 35 days. I'm like, oh, nice. It's like they didn't get it. But then these people, like you say, they understood.
They got it.
And that's what made it feel so much better.
For these guys, they're like, yeah, we've been in the jungle for like 5 months, so what are you bitching about?
Yeah.
Well, but the difference is they're getting that taste of civilization. They go back to week.
They've got their
They get
comforts and
receptions, get some cola.
Yeah, they're not having 800 calories a day. Us burning 7,000. So he got it, and that stay in Whittegron was a blessing. We pulled up. The house was amazing. Sandra was amazing. Yeah, it was a proper house. We had our individual the bedrooms. We then had the 3 lads arrive from Unlock Nature, who arrived with a cool box, and they had cheese and salami and Radler, ice cold Coke, Snickers, bread, peanut butter, chocolate paste. We're talking like a lot.
Lots of chips and candies.
Yeah. However, we were missing the main box that we were hoping to get to Whittegron and had planned for a good month and a half.
Had prepared a box just in case we would need a food drop-off with the extra oats, the extra lentils.
No adventure food, rations, stuff we would need to
baseline
finish
food
the
for the
expedition.
meals.
And then I asked Elike, like my colleague, like everything else would be a really good bonus. You know, if there's anything nice that you can send away, that would be amazing. And right after that, she sent me a message, Dick, I'm sorry, but the main box is still at home. I'm like, but we still have to go 100 kilometers. We cannot do 100 kilometers on white bread and chocolate paste. Or on Snickers or cookies.
Yeah.
We need some proper food too. We need these adventure
sustenance.
foods.
Yeah.
We need these oats in the morning. I mean, the 100K are gonna be very heavy. I mean, we're gonna smash out distances, but we know we can because we now have the fuel. But if it's not there, it's gotta be a hell of a challenge.
And we didn't know what to expect because now we were going against tides.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we were like, it could take us 2 days, it could take us 7 days. We had no experience doing this, right? So we were kind of just guesstimating how long it would take. And so the crucial box that we were in Whittegron there ready to collect was missing. And the bonus box that we were like, if I want to come to Colorado, it would be amazing, arrived. So it was flipped. But you managed to remedy it.
But the worst thing was that now we had this box of snacks that we'd been looking forward to eating guilt-free.
Yes.
Now we're like, shit, do we have to now ration this as our food?
Yeah.
And we're like, no, we have been looking forward to just eating guilt-free. So in the end, we decided we're still going to do that. And then you managed to arrange the box.
So at first, usually, I mean, things go wrong a lot here. So we're kind of used to it. Things go wrong, we're like, okay, how do we deal with this? What are the next steps? But at this point, you've been looking forward to that food for so long, and you're so hungry. It is so hard to let go. Yeah. It's so hard to not blame somebody. And as I heard, no, and you, okay. We're going to fix this.
Yeah.
So we went to Sandra, the lady that was very, very good for us. The moment we arrived, she made us some food. She provided us with the house, everything.
Yeah.
It's like, Sandra, do you know anybody who's coming over here tomorrow? Tomorrow, 5 o'clock, we're leaving. Before that time, we need a package from the city. And no, it's about a 6-hour drive. So it's not like you just go around the corner for a bit. She's like, yeah, the government bus is going all the way to Apura, to the other side of the country, and it should be passing here tomorrow around 4-ish. Okay, let's try it. So we get the numbers. I sent it to Lika. She's like, yeah, they agreed. They just, are you sure? Because if it's 1 or 2 hours late, you guys are late. I'm like, she's like, I can drive myself to. I'm like, you're crazy. So no, we're gonna depend on this government bus, and then
hope that it gets there in time. Yeah, which was amazing, and it did. But that day and night in Wittagron, we ate everything, and we smashed absolutely everything, and we were in heaven.
And
we had,
3 of you were.
yeah, and playing. We had rum, we had radler, which is kind of like a lime beer. It's like a lemonade.
Lemonade beer.
Very, very good.
Everything you can think of, and we ate a lot because we were so hungry. And Jacob slipped into his second food coma, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was bad. It was, to me, Wittagron was where everything started to fall apart.
Yeah.
We had an amazing meal of like rice and chicken and sauce. It was so good. There was an extra portion of rice as well. But we spent like the all afternoon snacking on crisps, on biscuits.
So much sugar.
So much sugar. So
way too much.
my stomach wasn't feeling, it hadn't had that in 35 days. So it wasn't feeling great going into that meal. And then I tried to force as much food down as I could because I hadn't eaten anything proper in so long. And my stomach was just so compressed and tiny after those 35 days of starvation.
Yeah.
It just didn't accept it. So I lay down on the pier, felt awful.
Couldn't stand.
Couldn't stand.
Couldn't come with us.
Felt terrible. And then I had to go lie down in bed. I just went to bed. It was like
You collapsed. Yeah.
much earlier, and you put a little portion of my leftover rice in the cool box. I was like, oh, that's great. I'll have it in the morning with some like fried egg and do some egg fried rice. And that was the downfall because
Everything started.
that's where everything really went wrong. So I was already feeling quite rough because I'd overeaten. I'd basically been binge eating all day, and then putting in some dodgy rice set off a chain of events that would see me through to the end of the expedition.
Yeah. That you would just
So
suffer
worse.
24/7 for the remainder of the mission,
Yep.
which was 3 days, wasn't it? 3-4 days.
Yeah, it just caused the worst stomach cramps.
3-4 days of some of the toughest days as well,
Yep.
from severe sleep deprivation and having to sit down pretty much 24/7 unless we found a log to stretch our legs on.
Yeah, you'd be sat in the kayaks, and well, we'll come on to what happened. We did kayak again, but you're in like a really sort of cramped position, basically tensing your core the entire time.
Yeah.
So it's a really bad position to be sat in when you've got intense stomach cramps and quite bad diarrhea. So it really was painful. Plus, the tide data we had for this entire stretch was what we thought would be really dreamy, where the tide would be going out between about 4 a.m. and 11 a.m. So we'd kayak going out with the tide at the nicest parts, and then rest during the heat of the day, and then go again in the evening, and then rest at night.
Yeah.
It was completely opposite to what the reality was. So it meant that we'd have to kayak through the heat of the day, and then kayak from 11 o'clock at night until like 5 in the morning to go with the tide. So
this-
it
yeah.
was brutal.
And this is off topic, but we've just gone 37 days in the jungle and I wasn't stung by any wasp or bee. However, just doing a podcast then, we just stung by a wasp.
Are you serious?
Stung by a wasp.
And you didn't even react?
Didn't react.
Was it a tarantula hawk?
I probably, yes. Or a dragon or something. Something small. Whack. Yeah, a wasp just landed on me and I didn't even think, just slap, rolled it, flicked it. Ow. I lasted 37 days. I was stung by a down wasp on podcast day after completion.
That's hilarious.
He was.
This departure of Wittagron was something else, because already
This was amazing.
during the heat of the day, I was looking at the tides. I was like, it looks like it's going down. It's like, yeah, but we're planning to leave around 5. We're getting this food drop off around 4. Which, by the way, Lieke felt very bad that she forgot about this one box. So what she did, she added another 3 boxes on top of the 2 boxes that we already had for the last 2 to 5, 6, 7 days.
Yeah.
So now we filled up, we sent back a lot of gear, everything that we didn't need anymore, the broken cameras, and we had empty barrels that we now filled up
To the brim.
full of snacks. We could have gone another 40 days
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
just like that amount of snacks.
we had more snacks the final 3 days than we did for the. It was more food. 35.
Oh,
More food
easy.
at that point.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, you know what? We plan out to go at 5 anyway. The tide is not very strong here anyway, so let's just go. By this time, my dog has also arrived, who was gonna join us for the rest of 4 days. So we get on the kayaks. We see that the tide's coming up, but it was all right. You know, we're on the kayaks for about 20 minutes. We see this very dark cloud coming at us. We see this thunder happening in the distance. Is this stupid or courageous?
Borderline.
I was like,
fine
does it matter? I mean, none of us are gonna go back, right?
Yeah.
No. Okay, then we're gonna continue, and just starts pouring rain and thunder and wind and waves and everything.
Like a massive, one of the biggest storms I've experienced, where it would just felt like there was someone throwing buckets and buckets over us into our kayaks. Like my lip was sunburned, and I literally had to cover my bottom lip with my top lip and hide from the rain because it was that painful.
I could hardly see. I really felt like I needed goggles.
Yeah.
I was kayaking and like I was like wiping my face, trying to see where you guys' lights was. 'Cause I was a little in the back at that point.
But for some reason, probably because all of the food that we ate, that was maybe the highest energy I had personally been.
We all love
And I think we just all started screaming like, yeah! Started singing.
Country roads, we were like singing at the top of our lungs,
Right through
in
the storm.
unison, like going through the rain.
But then,
that didn't last
but
very
then the
long.
fog lightning started to get pretty severe, and it got to a point where we were like, we probably shouldn't be in the middle of this wide river right now.
Featureless river, just with
Features.
4 kayaks.
Yeah, and we started to go in, towards the tree line, just to hide, because the fog lightning was now right above us, wasn't it? It was big, it was loud, and then eventually Dykes started to sink.
Yeah,
Right,
we lost you guys.
So
Yeah.
now it is reverse what we've been doing all this time. Like in the evening, we sleep, we wake up in the morning, but because of the heat of the day, we deflate our kayaks, and then at night it cools off.
Yeah.
So the air that's expanded during the day, dims in, so the kayaks get softer. So every morning before we depart, we need to pump up the kayaks again, and then empty out some of the air during the heat of the day. But now it was the other way around. Like we left with hot weather, so our kayaks were very hot, and then it started raining, and the temperature starts dropping, so our kayaks are getting softer and softer, and then we're in this rain, so our kayaks are filling up, and they don't have any drainage holes. So I'm just sitting there with a scared dog in my lap who does not like thunderstorms, and I just see the side next to my kayak, I just see it folding a
The
little,
whole kayak is like this.
and everything is filling up. And my filter bottles that I used to get the water out, we left because at this point we didn't want to drink from the river anymore. So we brought, extra bottles of water, which are not firm enough to actually empty the kayak with. So I had nothing to empty it with. Matt had nothing to empty it with. The guys were up front somewhere. We were whistling and calling and shining with the light. We couldn't see them. I'm like, Matt, I'm sinking. We need to get to the side somewhere, We find this horrible muddy bank. So my dog on the side, we get everything out. The rain dims in a little bit, and we just start laughing. We're like, we fucking love this shit.
Yeah, like I think those are the moments where you see who likes real kind of adventure and who doesn't. Because it's not glamorous at that point.
No,
You're up in your waist, and you're putting all your precious gear on the mud. It's cold. It's raining. You're tired, and then me and Dick were just looking at each other like lightning flashing all around. I love this shit.
I've got this amazing video where I'm filming Matt, and he's saying like, so the epicenter is now
Moving this way.
going this way, and then in the back you just see this purple clouds with thunder.
Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite days. That was one of the highlights, because right after that storm, we continued to paddle all the way through the night till about 4:30 in the morning, and there was just thunder and lightning happening around us whilst we had clear sky, Milky Way right through the center, and we didn't need no head torches because every few seconds there was some form of lightning happening somewhere that would just light up the entirety of the river in front of us. And there was just something magical about being there at 1-2 o'clock in the morning, paddling away with all of this lightning. It was like a massive firework display happening all around us. It was just beautiful. It was such a highlight.
I was just imagining people asking us, how did you navigate without a headlamp? Was it the moonlight or something? No, it was the continuous thunders, the continuous lightnings that we saw that lit up the tree line so we could navigate.
Yeah.
And the water was like glass, so you have the star-filled sky with like all these lightnings going around. And it's like the star-filled sky continues on the water. You can see the reflection of the stars in the water all night. It was like a paddling through the galaxy.
It was like we were paddling through space, and it reminded me the movie, you know, Life of Pi.
Yes.
It would really felt like that. The water was, you see the reflection of the stars.
It was like you were floating, and of course you were a little bit disorientated as well. It's dark. No, sorry, like float through space, you know, and you're just like, wow, this is insane. It looked like space was all around you, and you were just flying.
Yeah, I know.
It was amazing. But then for those next 3 days, became very brutal, very fast. Jacob had it the worst.
Yeah.
Don't know if you want to explain that.
Well, I mean, I think we've covered the fact that most people already know I had the worst diarrhea known to man. It was
continuous.
It was continuous. There was points we'd be kayaking. At first, I'd try and find somewhere to stop and get out and stand and do my thing.
Which most times you could.
Most times you couldn't, and then it just became a case of, right, oh, it's coming again. Out of the kayak, sit there, float along, holding on to the edge. Do you think?
Yeah, like think of the worst possible diarrhea that you might have ever had. Couple that with sleep deprivation, and then with sitting in a kayak 24/7. And when you do need to go, which is every half an hour, you have to jump over, hold onto the kayak, float and drift a couple of 100 meters whilst you're trying to excrement along the way.
It's not fun.
And then climb straight back into the boat, sit in your shitty little seat,
Literally.
and continue until the next poo at 2:30 in the morning, or 3 or 4, whatever it might be.
And there's no dry land. So you have two options. Either you shit in the river, or you have to wade through mud.
Yeah.
And you're shitting in mud. So either option was real ideal.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to go into it too much, but there was, when you're in the river, you don't get everything out. So there's a point where you need to find some dry land and just have a moment.
Jesus, which you couldn't do.
You couldn't do, so it became quite uncomfortable quite quickly.
Yeah.
There was one particularly bad point about 3:30 in the morning, just hanging off the side of a kayak, drifting down the river. And I was just thinking, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Like insane stomach cramp, just drifting through the river. I got back into the kayak, and then the biggest fish I've ever seen just came and swallowed all the cranberries I just left in the river.
Oh, God.
I was like, oh, that could have been me. I was sat there like 10 seconds ago.
And we kind of thought, this is the worst of it now. We're very sleep deprived. You know, Jacob suffering with diarrhea. I think your guys' feet were still in pain at that stage, were they? Were they starting to dry out?
My feet were good.
Were they starting to get good there?
One night of dry
It started to recover.
Everything real well.
And then
It's crazy how fast it changed, because that night we had one another magical moment that we were floating under these stars and we were in the middle of the river. And by this time, the tides were going so fast, we were just floating in the middle, having a little break, getting all the kayaks together, eating our stomachs full whilst covering
You three were.
2 kilometers, not paddling, we were just going down.
And we laughed a lot that night, because we were just eating big fat cookies, chocolate bars, crisps, you name it. And that's something we weren't able to do at all in the jungle. So we would see each other get out another snack, and we'd be like, you fat disaster. And it was the best, because we're sat there pigging out all the food in the world. And you look at the distance, and it's like we've done another 800 meters.
By eating a cookie.
By eating a cookie, yeah. And we were loving it. We were absolutely loving it. So that is also another highlight. We were laughing, we were eating, we were covering distance. It was like a dream. And then that night we also found land, didn't we?
Yeah.
We found land. It was a hunter's camp. We were able to get on, and we just thought, okay, now it's going to be the hardest push. We've got, for the next 2 days, was it?
It's 65.
65 kilometers left. So we thought this is going to be the hardest stint. I started to get gastric reflux from all the hideous things that I'd eaten. You were still pretty bad. But we thought this is it. This is as bad as it gets. However, that morning around 10:30.
Also, just to rewind, we got to that camp at 5:30 in the morning. So it wasn't like we arrived in the evening and had a full night's sleep. We had like 2.5 to 3 hours sleep.
Something like that. Yeah, just enough to set the hammocks up, sleep, and then set the alarms went off. But we woke up beforehand because the sun was already on us, melting us. So I had to leave my sleeping bag out to dry because it was all sweaty. We're eating our oats, which is the biggest portion we had ever had.
A little before that, like, I think I went to bed like 5:30, almost 6-ish, and about 7:30, 8-ish, I wake up because the sun is in my face, and I'm thinking, that's already hot. I'm like, the sun is hot. The kayaks. So I get out of the hammock. I get to the water. I now see that where we've been climbing up 2 meters through the mud in the middle of the night is now deep, like here. It's like getting up to the little bridge that we had was like wading through water now. So I'm glad because I tied up the kayak somewhere up here, and they were now like this much above the water. So I get the kayaks in, I check them all of them are hard. So, you know, I deflate them. Like, I'm so happy I didn't wake up to them.
Yeah.
You know, one of them exploding. I deflate them. I go back in bed again. We wake up a little later. We have our breakfast. I tell the guys, yo, I had to deflate the kayak this morning already. And everybody was like, whoa, we're still passed out. I'm like, yeah, we might need to check them because the sun is hot.
It was only, what time was it now? It was not even 9, right?
No.
It was like 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
No, 10. I think we set the alarms for, wasn't it?
Yeah. No. It was just not maybe 9:30. I think. Really?
Yeah.
Because like,
Oh, okay. I thought it was earlier.
Yeah.
And we were getting our stuff in because we were late. We saw, like, I told everybody, the water was up to here, and it was already here.
Yeah.
The tide is going down, and we need this tide. So, you know, everybody's quickly packing up.
Yeah.
And then the first bags go to the water, and we hear this horrible sound.
Again.
It was different than the last one. The first one was like empty, and this one, then it was flat.
Yeah.
Done. I'm like, no, we
just
already
lost the
used
kayak.
our spare tube. We don't have another spare tube.
So we are
Got
a boat
so much shit to bring on the boat.
Yeah.
1 day to go and kayak. Boom.
The worst possible thing that could have happened. And I know we remain positive and we're like, oh, it could have happened worst time. It could have happened when we were truly in the wild. But 1 day before finishing and that happens, that's shitty. That's just simply shitty, isn't it?
I think the only saving grace was the fact we were able to leave most of the kit we didn't need.
Oh my god.
Either way to go.
Ended back with the
Otherwise, we would have been very
no.
screwed. Yeah. And so we had to then distribute. So it was Matt, it was your boat, wasn't it? 'Cause
Again,
you had
so the same
dodgy
faulty kayak.
factory. Yeah, it was just.
I think what's happening is the way I don't remember if you explained, but the tube is forming a bubble.
Yeah.
And that bubble is concentrating too much pressure in one spot.
That's it.
So
yeah.
I think even like compared to the other kayaks, it just cannot take as much pressure.
Yeah, without that factory issue, it would have been fine. There wouldn't
Yeah.
have been any problems at all with that. It's the fact that there was a factory issue. It should have never have been sent to us, but it was. And we suffered twice because of that. But we adapted and we managed to distribute the kit from Matt's boat onto mine and Dykes. And then Jacob and Matt buddied up and jumped into that one kayak. So me and Dick were now riding really heavy, weren't we? And one gust of wind from behind, from the side, and it is like a big double-decker bus, like we're trying to steer, or like Titanic, that you're trying to do. It was horrible, but we didn't care at that point. It was a matter of we have to get the expedition done. And because this happened and we'd strapped everything down, we knew that we had all day, all night, and all day the following day to try to get to the finish. And we didn't want to risk taking all of the kit off, we're spending another night somewhere and potentially having another kayak go. So we knew that as soon as we strap all the kayaks up and we sit in them, we are going all the way to the finish like that. And that's when things became really, really hot, like really fun, type 2 fun, but also very difficult in terms of the lack of sleep, to a point that we were just so drained and tired. We would just be hanging onto each other's kayak, drifting, saying, shall we sleep for 20 minutes? And we set the alarm, and we would get our head down, and it felt like 2 seconds later the alarm would go, and then we would have to kayak again, and then we would have to double up, wouldn't we? And you were still having to jump aboard, and it was just horrible. It was horrible.
Mentally, it was probably one of the hardest 36 hours of endurance activities I've ever had to do. And I've done some like longer stints and things and long runs or whatever.
Yeah.
This was unbelievably tough. I think partly the fact that we weren't properly hydrated really for what we were doing. We were sat down for 36 hours
In water.
not really able to move our lower bodies at all. We were pushing through heat and we weren't sleeping.
Yeah.
It was unbelievably tough.
And we couldn't even digest because we were in a seating position that was like this when we were kayaking. It was,
But I was saying to Dick, I mean, a big theme of this expedition has been pushing our bodies to the maximum in many different
absolutely.
areas on lack of food, like literally starvation, physically just pushing to an insane level.
Yeah.
But then this is when you really realize how important sleep is for your body. Because we went 3 weeks pushing our bodies to the max every single day, hiking every day, 16 hours a day on 800, 600 calories.
Yeah.
And we got it done.
Yeah.
2 days with very little sleep and we are all ruined.
Yeah.
Sleep is so
It really
incredibly
is,
important for your body.
It really is. Yeah. It's the, as I said, like it's the kryptonite, and I don't think that's not just for me. For me, I just feel it really because if I have one bad night's sleep and my immune system's down, I'm prone to get everything and anything from colds to even diseases I've had when I've been in the tropics. But just people in general, through that lack of sleep, it's almost like if you set up dominoes, you can pull each domino out, like there's starvation, you know, and the rest is going to be intact. There's dehydration, but almost the sleep is you knocking that first domino and all of the rest just come tumbling down. That's the effects it has, and that's the effects it had on us when we were out there. And it was very hard to keep our heads together. We got to a point where we pulled into some mangroves, didn't we? We tied off the kayaks to the trees, and we tried to sleep. I think we tried to sleep about 2 hours that night, right? We lasted about an hour to an hour and a half because that's when the mosquitoes came. And then we realized that the tide had now come to a halt, and soon it would be starting to drift out, and we need to catch it at that time because we still got a hell of a distance to push on. I think it was 25-30 kilometers at that point to get to the bridge, which marks nearly the finish point. And as soon as we felt that calm water, and we knew eventually within the next hour it's going to shift and we need to be on that current heading towards the sea, that was it. We were awake, battered by mosquitoes.
I was just praying for the tide to turn. I was sitting there, like, scratching all over with a mosquito stick.
Scratching
Just like,
all
come on,
over,
come on,
right?
tide, turn.
We've been carrying these mosquito sticks for 37 days.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we we still had them. They were like moldy and wet, but they were still going on.
Like even Meadow, Dick's dog, even she was just horrified by the amount of mosquitoes that she crawled onto Dick's lap, like, cover me from these mosquitoes, at
We
which you
just
had to.
laid like spooning in there. Like there was barely in a room in the kayak, but she was like here, and I was getting my pangies, like the cloths over.
Yeah, and the only thing I kept thinking is lack of sleep, our immune system's down, we're near the coast, mosquitoes, dengue fever.
Dengue.
And I was just like, let's just get going. So I think we were happy to get going, and we did have that third or fourth by now wind of energy to just keep pushing on, but that was a hot day.
I was delirious.
That was really hard.
I was actually those days I was hallucinating.
Yeah.
Even at night when it wasn't even hot.
Yeah.
I was kayaking and I was like, holy shit, that's a big tree. Like I was seeing these ginormous trees which I thought were there. Like I was really seeing things.
Yeah.
I was just like paddling like this. I didn't know what was going on.
Which you go into, because that was day 3 since leaving Whittegron, right? And day 3, if you calculate, I think we had 5 or less hours sleep over the 3 nights.
100% less.
Right.
Yeah, less than 5.
Less than 5.
Yeah.
We should be kayaking along and you just sort of nod off slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we go over here still kayak.
Yeah, and you go to a different direction, and at that point, aren't you? There's more energy. You've got to like shift your boat back. Yeah, it was very, like, these last few days have been very intensified because of the lack of sleep and then because of the heat. And it got to a point where the sun was just on us so much we couldn't hide, we couldn't shelter. We had to push on, and I showered over to you, didn't I? Because my boat felt like it was expanding, and we just had to pull and get underneath some shade for like 5 minutes.
We were both struggling.
And then push on towards that heat. And we made it to the bridge. The current was still on our side. From this point, I had to message Guinness Book of Records and make sure that the end point is official and is accepted. By the end point, it needs to be a point where river meets sea and we officially enter the Atlantic Ocean for it to be verified as source to sea world first expedition. And I messaged both colleagues of the Guinness Book of Records on WhatsApp. Unfortunately, they both got back and they confirmed that the location that I recommended was agreeable, you know, and they said that's absolutely fine, we can verify that. And that was 5 kilometers on. And once we got that
Now we had the
confirmation,
reception
yeah,
to check out the new tide data.
uh-huh,
And I'm looking at the tide data and I'm like, shit, we passed the time. Like now the water should be coming up
yeah,
and the water's only gonna go down 5:30. If we need another like 2 hours to go there, 6:30, 7:30 means we're gonna finish at night. We need to be at night on
which
the
we
river.
can't do because we have to film the finish. So it wouldn't have been doable that day.
But we're looking at it and like it says it's coming up. But I see it's going down. I don't trust none of these tide data anymore.
Yeah.
Like we're looking different apps. We're looking at different websites.
Yeah, and they're all saying different shit, and we've just now had confirmation and the green light that 5 kilometers is acceptable to when we hit the Atlantic Ocean. So we're doing the maths and we're looking at the river and noticing it's still flowing out ever so slightly into the Atlantic Ocean, and we decide there and then,
We have done 5K an hour.
let's do it, let's get it done.
But just as we decided that, that's when I felt like almost my worst of those 3 days. I think that
Yes.
to combination of the lack of sleep, the probably dehydration from being ill,
Yeah,
not standing up and then standing up for the first time in 36 hours.
yeah,
My head went super light and I had a real dizzy spell. And I was like, I don't know if I can face 5K
Yeah.
for an hour in the midday sun. I just needed like 5 minutes. And
yeah.
thankfully, Lika arrived with a bucket of ice. And
I shouted and I sit in the car. You sat down on a rock and I could instant see heat exhaustion. He's got heat exhaustion. Get yourself into the car, get yourself in shade, air conditioning on. And that's all you really needed, because then I started to worry. Me, Dick and Matt were kind of like, fuck, we need to go. We have to go.
Because the
now.
window, there was a window, but the window was short. And we were like, as soon as we made that decision, we everything
have
was
to
out.
go.
We were pumping. We were like, we have to go right now.
Yeah.
We have seen the tides turn. If the tides turn, it's literally
You're paddling backwards. You're not making it.
And when they turn, they come in way more aggressively than
Yeah.
they do. It's like it's a shorter period of time, but the pace that the river goes in is so fast.
So, yeah, very intense, very fast. And so Jacob did get his 5 minutes, and luckily he came out with a 7th wind at this point, wasn't it? There's extra energy.
a little bit of banana,
Yeah,
bit of aircon, and then I got my hat off and I filled it with ice and just put it back on my head.
Yeah.
And I just sort of sat there and my head just cooled down. I thought, okay, I feel I can get this done. And over the next half hour, it was okay.
and then this was the final push.
That ice I had under my hat was so precious. It was like the only thing keeping me going. And I had Matt in the kite behind me, and you were like, "Oh, I feel so hot," and I was like, "Don't worry, Matt, I'll sacrifice you some ice. Put this on your head." And Matt just ate something. Just straight his mouth, and I'm there like, "No, don't save your head. Don't save it. You just melted it immediately."
I was really having a hard time. I mean, you knew that section. I don't know what it was that day, but the heat was not
Yeah,
okay.
your face was.
I
really
was
red as
so
well.
red in the face, and that was just for me. That was like
Yeah,
everything I had. I was just like head down, pangy over my head, just like trying to go forward.
yeah. That was the thing. You and me had that energy then, didn't we? We had this wind that we were just like,
we can do it now.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're all just going for it, trying to keep that same pace. And we had Lika in a powerboat, right, drifting slightly behind, because we know that we can officially then be collected from the finish point and brought back to the bridge. We were just going
amazing
for
to
it.
know.
Yeah, and we had them following behind, and we were paddling for about an hour and a half. We did slightly over the 5K just to make sure we were absolute in the Atlantic Ocean. And then eventually, with 100 meters to go, we started to do this big countdown. 10, 9, and then we got to 0. We got to the finish line, and then that's when we started screaming, shouting, celebrating. We got the photos, the videos. We got the drone panning out, getting crazy shots. Bearing in mind, we had drunk from the source of the Coppenham River. We had stepped over it when it's literally no more than half a foot in width, to now being in the Atlantic Ocean, where we watched the Coppenham grow from its infancy into this adult mighty river pouring into the ocean. And it was 1.5 to 2 kilometers wide, and then it branches out into nothingness. And we're just drifting in the waves on our boats thinking, boys, we've just created history. And we jump back onto the boat, we get back to the car, we're celebrating.
I was making the drone video, and I was like, oh, I have enough battery for just a second video, and I set it up, and I look in the distance, and at first I was like, hey, is that dolphins? I saw some light stuff coming out. It's like, no, that's waves. And I look further, and I see this thunder and this lightning coming down, and this dark rain cloud coming at us, and the waves come out. I was like, no, we need to land this drone now, and we need to go. And we were so lucky, like going up there, the water was smooth, because the sea and such a big river, I mean, we've experienced the same day with a little bit of more wind, that the waves were horrible.
It was unpaddleable on this.
So we were so lucky that it was smooth towards the sea, and the moment we are done, there's this thunderstorm coming in. We get on the boat, and we get back to the bridge.
Those waves that followed the storm. One of those waves with a filter kayak.
Done.
If we were 20 minutes later to the bridge, we would not have had the shots. We might not have made the distance.
I think also if we waited for the tide. Even the mosquitoes hadn't woken. I think it was all meant to be. And even you said that you don't think you could have continued paddling solo on that. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise that one of the boats burst.
The fact the kayak blew up, almost as shitty as it was at the time, potentially helped me get to the finish line, because I was in so much pain for those last 36 hours. Being able to share the workload probably helped me get there, because I don't know if I'd be able to manage the same pace with that stretch. Maybe it would have taken an extra day.
So maybe it was all meant to be, but either way, we faced all sorts of craziness and managed to complete what?
Close to 600 kilometers in distance we traveled, right?
Yeah, 600 kilometers, and we knocked roughly, in my estimation, around 13 days off the predicted time.
Yeah. Great good going.
Machines.
Which is very good going. Very good going. So there's so many more stories, and I know we've got a Q&A. I don't know if we do that now or if we answer it in the comments. Because that's almost 2 hours, and I think that's a really good one. There are so many more details that I would like to get into. Definitely leave your questions again at the bottom. Maybe we can individually answer on comments, or we can do a separate video. But you're about to see some crazy content, and you're about to hear and watch these stories come to life, because we did manage to capture an awful lot of what we're talking about. And I think, although we talk about how difficult this is, we are definitely the personality and the character to most certainly underplay what we've just gone through. Because naturally, you're sort of humble about it, but it was extreme. It was a lot. We got the job done. It's unreal being back here in civilization now. We're eating so much food, but so well. We have a list that we made, and it's a bucket list that we've created, literally a schedule, and we're ticking through it.
This is the second mission, by the way. This is the second mission, is the food, and we are doing very well. We're getting through it as well. So it's been unreal. It's just amazing to be back here as Zootopia, having achieved it all together as a team, and just, wow. I think it's going to take a while for it to kick in, and you can probably tell that we're all still quite sort of hazy, dazed, low on energy. An amazing experience, once in a lifetime, that we have got now for the rest of our lives. Crazy experiences, and still more stuff. So many more stuff that we have forgot to mention, just because we will simply forget it until we see photos or videos or hear our voice notes. Or I think we could talk for hours about Table Mountain, even those last 3 days.
Those last 3 days,
Those last couple of days made some of the best memories, the best stories. I feel like we did breeze through a lot of that, but I think that's a pretty good overview.
I think that's great.
A lot more to come out. All the
weight of all the videos and everything, all the content that we have, all the drones.
So stay tuned. You can follow Matt on
Instagram, Wallace Untamed.
Wallace Untamed, Dick on,
Unlock Wildlife, and the company Unlock Nature.
Jacob on
Instagram, Jacob Hudson, and then
Uncharted.
Uncharted as well.
And we'll be keeping more YouTube videos getting out there, different clips that we cannot wait to share with you. So if you did follow along and you showed support, we really do appreciate that.
No, seriously, I think every now and again we get feedback on how everything's going, and it would be such a motivator when we go through some tough times. So yeah, massive thanks to everyone that sent messages and showed support throughout the journey.
Yeah, it was for me when I was really struggling. It really helped motivate me to know that there are people rooting for us, there are people genuinely interested in what we're doing.
Yeah.
And that's when I pulled the phone out. I felt like I was speaking to these people.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, I'm really having a hard time. I pull the phone out and I feel like there's this whole support team that's there.
Yeah, right.
So that for me personally, the support was really felt.
It makes it more enjoyable, doesn't it? Yeah. You know, like you are sharing it rather than you just going through it and no one will ever understand it, because you're able to capture it, unlike ancient explorers who weren't able to do.
And it gave us purpose too, a bigger purpose to the expedition. It was to share all these experiences with all you people.
And just show Suriname as a whole, and I really look forward to showing. Like, we talk about the wildlife and all of these eyeballs and how we are there with it, but they need to see that through the photos and videos that we've taken. So again, you're going to see so much more. But we're going to end it here.
Yep.
Big thanks, and we will see you in the next video.
Amazing. Thanks, guys.